In this video, I wanted to see if I could beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Black using only fighting types. Fighting types tend to be one of the stronger types in Pokemon games, able to punch their way out of most sticky situations. However, you know that has a seriously limited selection of fighting types, meaning this challenge is not going to be easy, especially because I'll be playing with a hardcore Nuzlocke rule set. Under this rule set, if one of my Pokemon faints, it's considered dead and must be released. I can also only catch the first fighting type in each new area. The rest of the rules are on screen now and in the description. With that all out the way, let's jump right in and see if my fighting types will be strong enough to carry me through this challenge. So first things first, I've got to pick my starter, and you might be expecting me to pick Tepig here, who will eventually become a fire fighting type once he evolves. Unfortunately, all of my starters seem to have been replaced with Timber instead, so without much other choice, that's what we'll be going with on this first attempt. With Cena by my side, I'm able to head into the world and start catching my early game encounters. And turns out I don't actually get any more fighting types before the first gym. Oh well, looks like we're heading straight to the first gym with only Cena by my side. Beating our first gym fight of the run means we've got to get past Cress, who attacks me with his dog and monkey. This fight shouldn't be an issue unless Cress manages to get off too many workups. Oh no. Well, at least it doesn't take me long to get back here, and attempt 2 goes a lot better. Lillipup is able to get off a few workups, but the only attacking move it has is Bite, which Cena resists, meaning he's able to take down the pup with little issues. Then the run-ending monkey comes back out, and thanks to another workup, it does come very close to KOing Cena and ending attempt 2, but my starter survives, meaning he's able to win us our first gym battle of the run. Did take us more than one attempt there, but not complaining because with a bit of bad luck, that could have taken a lot longer. With our first gym taken down, we can move on, and I've run into a bit of the roadblock here. I need to cut past this small tree, and of course, Cena can't learn cut. Luckily, by leaving a like on the video and subscribing, I've learned how to phase through objects. Watch this. Oh, okay, way to ruin my self-plug, Bianca. Oh well, if nothing else, you could always become a channel member for less than £1 a month if you really want to go out of your way to show your support. Anyway, now that Bianca has ruined my self-plug, let's carry on. Thankfully, heading to the outskirts of Pinwheel Forest means I can catch my second Pokemon of the run, a Swak I name Hogan. Hogan is actually a really strong Pokemon, especially for the early game, so I'm very excited to add him to my very limited team. It's then time to tackle the second gym battle of this run, where we've got to deal with Lenora and her normal types. Normally this fight would be pretty scary with only 2 Pokemon, but luckily I have the type advantage, so I'm hoping this won't cause me too many issues. Lenora starts off with her pup, Herder. I start with Cena to take an Intimidate before switching into Hogan, who dodges a takedown on the switch. Perfect. A single low sweep is then enough to one-shot the Herdier. Told you Hogan was really strong. Second then for Lenora is Watchog, and I'm hoping for another one-shot here so I don't have to take a Retaliate or Hypnosis. And of course I missed the KO by looks like 1 HP. Hogan is able to tank a Retaliate though, and then one more kick to the face is enough to win us our second gym badge. Overall a pretty straightforward fight, but then this is a fighting only run, so what did you really expect? Next, after dealing with some annoying Team Plasma stuff, I can start making my way to Castelia City, where my next encounter awaits. Past Castelia en route 4, I'm able to catch a Scraggy I name Mysterio. Mysterio's dark typing make him a vital encounter for getting past any psychic types I run into in this run, and once she evolves, she'll become a really strong member of the team. Thinking about it, I don't actually know when Scraggy evolves. Hopefully it won't be too long. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Well, there's not a lot I can do about that because I've got another gym leader to deal with. Up next is Burgh and his bugs. I think I'm going to start feeling the pain of only having one decent Pokemon at this point, so let's hope we can still push through. So Burgh starts with Whirlipede, and I start with Cena. Whirlipede's poison makes him slightly annoying for my punchy boys to deal with, but thankfully, Cena has learnt Rock Throw. I need to do some chip damage first with a Wake Up Slap to avoid Whirlipede being put into range where Burgh will heal. I'm then able to get off the Rock Throw for over 50% while Whirlipede screeches. Then on the following turn, a second Rock Throw takes down the car wheel. Second is Burgh's ace, Leathani. I'm pretty confident Cena can take at least one hit here, so I stay in and take a Razor Leaf Okay, ouch, that did more than I expected. Cena lived though and is able to hit the grass bug back with a rock throw that doesn't do a huge amount. Can't let Cena take another hit here, so I switch into Hogan on another strong Razor Leaf. Hogan is actually a perfect counter for Leavanny though, and that's because of the quirk with the Gen 5 AI. The Gen 5 AI hates being slower than you, so if it can change its speed to outspeed you, it will pretty much always go for that option. That's perfect in this situation because Leavanny will keep going for string shot to lower Hogan's speed, but I can keep attacking with low sweep to make sure Hogan stays faster. This lets me freely bring the Leavanny down really low and then spam counter until eventually Leavanny goes to Razor Leaf. Easy. Had the perfect tools to handle that. All that leaves is Dwebble, who is easily taken down by a couple more low sweeps. With that, we've won our third gym badge. Honestly, if I didn't have low sweep on Hogan there, that fight would have probably been much more difficult. Thankfully, we had the correct tools for the job. Moving on from Burgh then, before we can do anything else, I've got two annoying rival fights to deal with. Thankfully, I've now got counters to my weaknesses of Psychic and Flying, so these fights aren't as difficult as you'd think. With my rivals kicked to the curb, I'm able to carry on through Route 4 and the Desert Resort to grab a couple of useful TMs. I'm then able to evolve Cena, meaning he's now no longer completely worthless. Then N attempts to fuck me with his Sigilyph after taking me on a Ferris wheel. I suppose at least he took me on a date first. Sigilyphs are quickly going to become one of the scariest Pokemon I'm going to have to deal with during this run, especially if Hogan carries on being as blind as he was during this fight. Thankfully, Mysterio is able to come in and KO with a payback, but I did just get very close to losing this entire run. We made it past N though, and that's what matters. With N out the way, it's time for our fourth gym battle against Elisa and her electric types. I often struggle with this gym fight, but with all of my Pokemon having Dig and Rock Tomb, I'm hoping this will go smoothly. So Elisa starts with Emolga, and I start with Cena. Emolga immediately gets off an Aerial Ace that doesn't do a huge amount, before Cena hits back with a gem boosted Rock Throw that annoyingly just misses the KO. Emolga then gets healed on the following turn, so I go through a chip away to make sure I don't miss. Cena then has to take another nasty Aerial Ace before finishing off the Flying Rat with another Rock Throw. Next is Elisa's second Emolga, so I switch into Mysterio. As I switch, Mysterio takes a Volt Switch, meaning my tiny little Scraggy that can't even hold up his pants is facing down Elisa's Ace, which isn't exactly a great place to be. I decide to take a risk though and leave Mysterio in, and honestly I shouldn't have risked losing Mysterio here because he's vital through the rest of the run, but it works out because Mysterio survives the spark and then hits back with the Rock Tomb that lowers the Spiky Horse's speed. I then switch into Hogan on a quick attack and then outspeed with a Dig through a one-shot. All that leaves through Elisa is her second Emolga, who for some reason goes for a pursuit, allowing Hogan to land two Rock Tombs through another easy KO. That was probably one of the most straightforward battles I've had against that gym, but I'm not going to complain because with that we've won our fourth gym badge. It's actually then only a quick run over to Driftvale City, where our next gym battle awaits Clay and his ground types. Clay is usually a super scary run ender, but my three Pokemon directly counter Clay, so this fight isn't really much of an issue. I can spam Brick Breaks with Hogan to take down Clay's entire team. Krokorok goes down in one hit, Palpitoad in two, and then the scary run-ending Mole goes down in a single hit. That might have been the easiest Clay fight ever. Hogan isn't taking any prisoners. Unfortunately, my next challenge is not going to be as simple. We've got Skyla and her birds to deal with. What's worse, before we can even reach Skyla, I've got to deal with the stupid amount of Psychic and Flying types that seem to have made it their mission to be as annoying as possible. Firstly, I've got to get past Bianca's Mushana, which isn't threatening because it can't hurt Mysterio, but it does take 8 years to KO because it keeps increasing its defense with Defense Curl. I then have to deal with a trainer inside the spooky ghost tower that, of course, you guessed it, nearly ends my run with the Sigilyph. I'm really starting to hate those stupid things. It's not even a relief when I make it past this stupid thing, because I've then got to get past the trainers inside of Skyla's gym, and I have so many close calls, it's not even funny. Eventually though, I do make it to the gym leader herself, so let's see if I can somehow make it through this fight. So Skyla starts with Swoobat, and I start with Mysterio. Now, I'm so limited on options here, still only having 3 Pokemon, I have to risk a crit with Mysterio. If I get unlucky, the run could just end, so I click payback and pray, and Swoobat just goes through an amnesia. That's perfect because it lets Mysterio get off the gem boosted payback for the one-shot. Second is Unpheasant, and because I've taken no damage, I decide I might as well stay in, and for some reason, Unpheasant goes through Aaliyah despite having no physical attacks. That works for me though, because it allows Mysterio to get off 2 rock tombs before taking a nasty air slash. I now know that Skyla will heal on the following turn, so I'm safe to get off 1 more rock tomb before Mysterio gets a crit, almost taking down the overgrown pigeon. Mysterio wasn't quite able to finish off the Unpheasant though, so I'm forced to switch into Hogan, luckily on a quick attack. A gem boosted rock tomb is then enough to take down the Unpheasant. All that leaves to Skyla is Swanana. I'm nearly through this, but if I get unlucky, this could still end super fast. Just have to hope for no crit or flinch, so I go through another rock tomb, and Skyla just goes through an aqua ring, letting Hogan cleanly 2-shot. We're entering the later half of the game now, so I decide it's time to let my starter evolve into his final form. Mysterio is also able to finally evolve, meaning he should finally be useful. I'm then able to do something that has been a real rarity during this run so far, find another encounter. Just outside of Dragon Spiral Tower, I'm able to find a Miningfu who I name Rock. Rock would be an amazing find, but I am going to have to wait a little bit before she's useful, because for some reason she doesn't evolve until the ridiculous level of 50. This game, man, I swear. At the very least, we've got a very easy gym fight to deal with. The Ice Gym leader really can't stand up to our punches, like at all, giving us our 3th gym battle of the run so far. As a reward for getting through that very difficult gym fight, by making my way onto Route 10, after a very long time spent searching, I can find my last encounter of the run, a throw I name Austin. Honestly, throw isn't super amazing at this point, but I'm just thankful to finally have 5 Pokemon. With that final encounter collected, it's time for our last gym battle of the run. This Dragon Gym can often be a run ender if you're not careful, but I do have a plan, and I'm relying on Mysterio's secret weapon, Moxie. So thanks to a gem boosted jump kick, Mysterio can one-shot the Thraxis and gain an attack increase from Moxie. Second is Druddigon, and surprisingly a boosted Brick Break fails to even do 50%. That does mean I have to risk another jump kick miss on the following turn, but Mysterio lands the attack, taking down Drayden's second dragon. All that leaves then is Haxorus. Now because I know how the AI works, I'm pretty sure I'm in a really safe position here. I know the AI will go through a Dragon Dance, which lets Mysterio get off the Brick Break for over 50%. Now normally I'd be in real trouble because a Dragon Dance boosted Haxorus could probably KO my entire team. But thanks to Haxorus's main attack being Dragon Tail, which has negative priority, I'm guaranteed to go first on the following turn, meaning I'm able to take down the dragon without having to take a single hit. That fight could have been a lot worse than it was, but once again, all the pieces came together to give us the win. That's our 8th and final gym taken down. As a reward for getting all 8 gym badges, I can finally complete my team. I can evolve Rock into Miningshao. And with that, it's time for our final challenge of the run. We've only got 5 fighting types, and this Elite Four and double champion fight is no joke. So let's go see if we can push through this final gauntlet and become the champion of Unova. Leave a like to wish me luck. Let's go end this. So first up for this Elite Four, I'm challenging Chantel, the Ghost type leader. Obviously Ghost types are going to be a problem for my fighting types, but I do have somewhat of a plan. So first up, I've got to deal with Kothagrigus, which involves spamming rock moves with my Pokemon that I don't think I need throughout the rest of this fight. Cena is able to force Chantel to use a full restore and then bring the Coffin to below half, but eventually my starter is crippled by a Will-O-Wisp and brought low by a Psychic. This forces me to switch into Hogan, who takes more from a Psychic than I'm expecting. I'm pretty sure a gem boosted Dig will finish the Kothagrigus off though, so I take a risk and Dig crits, meaning I don't even have to worry. With the Coffin down, Chantel sends out her ace, Chandelure. Honestly, this is one of the scariest Pokemon in this entire run. If I get unlucky with what happens next, this run could end very quickly. My best shot for taking this thing out is switching into Mysterio and praying that Chandelure goes for a Psychic or Shadow Ball on the switch. If it goes for a Fire Blast, I probably will survive, but I will need to dodge a second Fire Blast on the following turn. Oh shit, thank god that missed. That puts me in a really good position, but I still have to hope and pray I don't get crit or burned on the following turn, or this could all go wrong very quickly. So once again I hold my breath, and Mysterio makes it through, landing a crunch for the one shot. That was really risky, but my luck held up. With that, thanks to Moxie boosts, I can one-shot Chantel's remaining Pokemon for our first win of this Elite Four. Had to take some super scary risks during that fight, but it paid off. Second then for this Elite Four is Grimsley, and it should be a shock to no one that this fight is very easy for my fighting types. So much so that Rock is able to Drain Punch her way through Grimsley's whole team, apart from Crocodile, who is then easily dispatched by Austin. Nice easy win after Chantel, 2 down, 2 more to go. Third for this Elite Four is Caitlyn, and being a Psychic type specialist, you'd think I'd have a hard time with this fight. Luckily though, Mysterio is a bro, and once again thanks to Moxie, I can spam Crunch until this fight is over. All that leaves for this Elite Four is Marshall, the fighting type specialist. Obviously there's going to be a lot of mirror matchups during this final battle, so I'm not exactly sure how hard this fight is going to actually be. Let's jump right in then, as Marshall starts with Throw, and I start with Rock. Annoyingly, a Gem boosted jump kick misses the one shot on the Fat Muppet, but because the Gen 5 AI is dumb, Rock only has to take a resisted Bulldoze. Marshall then uses 2 Thor restores while I spam Drain Punches to keep Rock healthy. I'm then able to carry on spamming Drain Punches as Thor keeps going for weak Bulldozers, but annoyingly, just before I can get one final hit off to finish off the annoying fighting type, Marshall goes for a Storm Throw that brings Rock really low. Well, at least that thing is down and Rock survived. Next, I have to deal with Conkeldor, so I immediately switch into my own throw, Austin, who takes a Hammer Arm on the switch. Austin is then able to get off good damage with a Gem boosted Storm Throw, but then is brought dangerously low by a second Hammer Arm. I now need someone to finish this stupid thing off, so why not my own Conkeldor, who takes another strong Hammer Arm on the switch. A low sweep is then enough for another KO. Third for Marshall is his own Miningshow, who lands a nasty jump kick before Cena can bring the Meerkat down to 50% with another low sweep. Then it's just a case of switching into Hogan, taking another scary jump kick, and then getting the KO with a single Brick Break. All that leaves to Marshall is Swak, and I'm in a really awkward position here. All of my Pokemon are really beat up, and I do think Mysterio can take this thing down, but I need him to come in safely. That unfortunately requires a sacrifice, which is not something I'm happy about considering I've only got 5 Pokemon anyway. Don't really have much of a choice here, so I decide that the least useful member of my team is Austin. So with a heavy heart, I switch into Austin and watch as he goes down to a Brick Break. Rest in peace, your sacrifice will give us the win because I can now send in Mysterio, who is able to take down Marshall's last Pokemon, winning us the Elite Four. That Elite Four was very mixed in terms of difficulty. Grimsley and surprisingly Caitlyn were complete cakewalks, but Chantel and Marshall came very close to ending this run. We made it through though, and that means we've got one more challenge to face, the double champion fight against N and Getsis. This double champion fight is never straightforward, so let's go end this. So N starts with his legendary dragon Zekrom, while I start with Hogan. Thankfully, Hogan has access to Dig, meaning that 2 digs are enough to take down N's scariest Pokemon, while he only sets up a light screen. Then I discover something I've never really noticed about N's team. He really has a problem dealing with fighting types. So much so the problem, in fact, that Hogan is able to close combat his way through the next Thor of N's Pokemon. That was way easier than I thought it would be. The only reason I can't one-shot Caracosta is Sturdy, but that's easily dealt with thanks to Cena, who takes down the turtle with a couple of low kicks. That was the easiest end fight I've ever done. Still got Getsis to take down though, and he proves to be much more of a challenge, especially because once again I've got to deal with a stupid Coffin. I do try to get off some damage with Hogan, but unfortunately a Dig does next to nothing, and then Hogan ends up getting Toxiced, which is a bad start. I'm pretty sure the Coffin will now go through a Protect on the following turn though, so I decide it's safe to switch into Mysterio. I then immediately go through a Gem boosted Crunch that crits, KOing the Cothagrigus. The Coffin going down so easily is going to make my life so much easier. Second for Getsis is Hydreigon, and I can't leave Mysterio in here because he's threatened by Focus Blast. I'm pretty sure Cena can take the hit though, so I switch him in, and Focus Blast misses. My luck this fight has been a godsend, especially because now my punchy starter can take down the dragon after taking a hard Dragon Pulse. Third for Gets This is Boothalon, and unfortunately, the time has come to let another friend go down. It always sucks to lose your starter, but the cleanest way I see myself getting to the finish line here is letting Cena go down, so I stay in and watch as Cena goes down to a head smash. Rest in peace, bud. With Cena down though, I can safely take down the ball with a single drain punch from Rock. Right, halfway through, next up is Electros. I decide to stay in and start spamming drain punches with my Meerkat, and there is a scary moment where Rock nearly goes down to a wild charge, but Rock survives and eventually brings down the eel. Fifth for Gets This is his That Throg Seismitoad, so I immediately U-turn out into Hogan. I then make a bit of the misplay and go through a dig instead of my much more powerful fighting attacks. I don't know why I had it in my head that the Ugly Throg was a poison type, but it does mean Hogan unfortunately falls to a Toxic after taking a Muddy Water. Rest in peace, Hogan, that was totally on me. At the very least, I'm now free to send in Rock, who finishes off the Seismitoad with a Drain Punch. All that leaves to Gets This is Bisharp, who is 4 times weak to my fighting moves, meaning this is all over as one last attack brings me the victory. We've done it, had 2 Pokemon left, but we've beaten a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Black with only fighting types. If nothing else, this video has shown me just how strong fighting types actually are, because with a few exceptions, this run was surprisingly straightforward. Still a very fun challenge to complete though, so if you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like and become a member to support what I do. Thanks so much for watching, I'll see you all next time.